well. I'm really excited because obviously we're here to talk about endometriosis, but your hormones obviously aren't limited to that. In fact, your hormones are a factor, but they're not the reason why you are experiencing or suffering from endometriosis. So I've got solutions, and if you can hang around for, I've got about 20 minutes or so to hang out here with you guys. If you can hang around, then I've got something really cool for you that you can download after at the very end of this. So I'm going to start to kill some of this music. But last week, if you joined in, I shared my 5 top tips to help you overcome endometriosis. And if you didn't grab that, then you want to go and have a look at that. What was really interesting was that there was so much discussion about me using the words overcome endometriosis. It was very triggering for people. I got told that I wasn't actually appreciating the severity of the illness. Guys, I have encountered thousands and thousands of cases of endometriosis. In fact, whilst I wasn't diagnosed, I'm pretty sure that I am predisposed, and in my younger years, I suffered debilitating pain at my period and throughout the cycle as well. And not only did I suffer, but I was just like so many of you, the girl lying on the bathroom floor, passing out in between, vomiting, sweating, cold shivers. It used to be a horrible time for me. And so I want to chat a little bit about that, but I want to see if there's any questions over here. Hang on one second, because my screen has stopped scrolling. Oh yeah, there are. Okay. So I am keen for us to dive into some questions, but first I just want to have this conversation about overcoming, because genetically, if you are presenting with anything, whether it's endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, irritable bowel, thyroid issues, like genetically, if you can look down the line and have a look at your family history, you can pretty much work out what your own predisposition is going to be should you not do anything to influence your body to perform to its best. Now, sometimes you can look at that in reverse and say, all right, well, I have endometriosis, but my mum doesn't. And that doesn't mean that it's not genetic, because that's really the only way you're going to present with that is for that to be triggered for you. But the difference is that your mum isn't living as you are now. So perhaps she had a more or a different load of stress in her life. She maybe wasn't exposed to the same toxins, the same chemicals, the same environmental factors, the same stresses, different nutrition, different way of living. So she wasn't living as you are now, and therefore she never presented with symptoms of endometriosis. And I always say to my patients, it's almost like when you are presenting with a condition, it's almost like every single box is ticked to present that. And our job is to try and untick as many boxes in those triggering factors to then allow your body to not present with that as a problem anymore. When I talk about overcoming something, and I think we need to look at this with everything in life, there is no such thing really, therefore, as a cure as far as I can see, because a cure would mean that you would completely change your genes. You can't change them. You can change the way that they behave. And that's what we're here to learn about, and that's what we discussed in detail last week. So I wanted to have that discussion because obviously there was a lot of conversation around the word overcome, and it doesn't mean it's not lingering in the background. It means that you get to live your life without full-blown symptoms. However, if enough stresses creep back into your daily life to tick some more of those boxes, you're going to find that you're going to start to present with symptoms again. And our job is to make sure that we continue to minimize that. So it is so important for us to be able to do that. And I'm really keen to talk about more of this and answer questions. Like I said, I love hearts. I love it if you share this with people that you know that might find this beneficial. Maybe you'll share it now, maybe you'll share it later. I'm not going to make the excuse of the fact that I have been in the studio all day recording Beautiful You, and B, I had a migraine this morning, which makes me like, now I'm looking at bright lights and all the things and hoping that I get through this and feel fine, which I'm sure I will. But I am human too. and we all have things that we're predisposed to, and lucky for me, I get to be predisposed to migraines. So no one's exempt, no one's got it all figured out, but we can definitely do certain things to help our bodies perform and optimize our performance, and that's definitely where it's at. So I can see lots of people watching on Facebook. No love, no joy, no comments there. So guys, you kind of have to lift your game because, well, I feel a bit lonely over there. So if you do start to want to ask some questions, please do. Either that or I just can't see them, but I'm pretty sure I'm on the right page there. So really excited to dive into some questions, and like I said, I want you to hang around for the next 20 minutes or so because I want to be able to not only answer your questions but give you a really cool tool at the end of this to help you in your own way of managing and hopefully for many of you overcoming your hormone imbalance, especially when it comes to endo. We also talked last week just quickly that endometriosis, it's as it's genetic, it is fed or amplified, or I don't know what the right word is, I guess fed is the right word, by hormone imbalance. So whilst the hormone imbalance doesn't cause it, it definitely is a contributing factor to it, especially estrogen, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go on, I'm sure. But you want to make sure that you are supporting your hormones as much as possible to help your body to perform to its best so that you can, again, untick one of those boxes that we've been talking about already. I was going to say something else to that and now it's left my mind. Something to do with ticking boxes, something to do with estrogen being a feeder. It's gone. Anyway, so there's some questions coming through I can see over on Instagram. Of course, Instagram's really far away. I need to do this to get over there. Hang on a second. I broke my mic before we started last week, which was a fail. Okay, is it unusual to get diagnosed at 35? Love this question. Here's the question I would ask to that. You probably have had a history to... I'm sorry you're getting diagnosed at 35. No, I guess it's not uncommon given your age. The average age of diagnosis is, the average duration of diagnosis is somewhere between, 7 to 10 years, or it has been historically. And I think in the past we've been very lazy with diagnosis, probably because we've used the pill as a band-aid solution and we've just gone, just take this until such a time that you're ready to have kids and then we'll work out what we're going to do next. So no, it's not unusual, but it doesn't mean that you haven't suffered for a long time and it's just gone undiagnosed, or you've been on the pill or some type of synthetic birth control or hormones that has stopped the symptoms or at least put symptoms at bay. I will say very often when we try and suppress symptoms, other things just pop up elsewhere. And so that's never really an ideal solution. It can give you some space. It can certainly allow you to take a breath of fresh air, collect yourself, and then work out a plan of attack. And again, I know what I was going to say before. There's no right way to do this, guys. There is no right way. There's just your way. And I'm here to give you information that maybe you haven't heard before, maybe that you'll put in your brain bank for one day and come back and go, oh, that's right, remember Nat saying that. Or maybe you're like, nah, she's nuts. That's okay. Whatever works. I'm just here to share what I know and share what I've learned through thousands of patient encounters. All right, so my 16-year-old daughter presents with painful periods, struggles to sleep around the time of the month, moody swings, they're good, sweats, irritable bowel. She has just started the pill to calm. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to read all this. To calm, that's where it ends. Instagram's annoying for that. It doesn't necessarily, if you write a really big, long explanation or really big long question, it doesn't really let you post it all. So here's what I'm going to say. Definitely the time of around 16 for girls, it is a heightened stress time and our hormones are changing again. So if you think about our bodies we like to think about it in cycles, and for girls it's roughly every 7 to 8 years. So if you think back to when you were sort of 8 years of age and your body started to change, you started to get some boobs and some pubes and a little bit of a butt, and that's normal. And then if you think to sort of 8 years later, kind of the same thing going to happen again. And this is the cycles of especially for females, that we can look at and look back on. We can see that our hormones definitely keep on changing for the rest of our lives. So that's not normal. However, the level of symptoms that we experience is a true indication of the imbalance that exists. So we want to be able to support the body. Remember those boxes that we want to untick some of them? So stress as a 16-year-old, just living is stressful for 16-year-olds. And not to mention all the mood changes, the hormone changes, the stress of school, the stress of friendships. And also, us as adults really need to, I feel, cut our teens a little bit of slack. It's their first time that they're experiencing these emotions. It's their first encounters. We know better. We've experienced it many times. We have countless hours of experience. They don't. So it's the worst thing that we can do, I feel, for our teens is kind of shrug it off and go, oh, you've got a lot to learn. Oh, you'll be right. Like, oh, first heartbreak. It's a shame. It's their first. And so I think if we are a little bit more gentle, they want to just talk about it. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't want to talk about it because you give them that that approach where it's like, suck it up, princess. We've all been through it. So I want to encourage you with our 16-year-olds or our teenagers to really take that on board, and to be a listening ear and to have some compassion about that, because yeah, we have been through it. And yeah, if you remember how heavy and big and scary that felt. So a couple of things, look at where the stresses are existing. It is very hard to get a 16-year-old to do something that you want them to do. The best thing you can do is lead by example. So how dialed in is your nutrition? How dialed in is your exercise regime? How good is your sleep hygiene? How good are you managing your emotions? And start to look at that. I will say that, and anything that I share in a live, disclaimer right now, is safe. I would never share anything that is something that would be an individual, what's the word I'm looking for? Treatment, that would require a one-on-one consultation with a practitioner. I will never share that live. So when I say things like magnesium, making sure that her bowels are working properly, like anyone can do that very safely. But I would say hands down, one of the things all of our teenagers need to be taking is definitely magnesium. It helps us cope better with stress. And starting with those things as a 101, I think would be really useful. And I'm going to share something at the end of this to help as well. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, she just went on in the next one to say, periods, this really doesn't sit well with me. Can we overcome hormone imbalances without taking the pill? So we can't overcome hormone imbalances by taking the pill, because the pill doesn't balance hormones. It just flatlines them. And the minute that you stop taking the pill, the hormone imbalance is there, and it's often there tenfold because we haven't actually done anything to address it in the first place. So the other thing I want mothers to know, I really want mothers to know that girls don't sexually mature in terms of their hormones until around the age of 21. The longer, research does indicate that the longer that you can wait to use synthetic hormones, the less of an impact it's going to have on your body over time. This is because that the pill shuts everything down, obviously. Now, if you shut your hormones down as a 16-year-old and then you come off the pill as a 30-year-old, your hormones have missed out on 14 years of maturation, or 14 years of what they're supposed to be doing. So hormonally, you are as developed as a 16-year-old, and that's problematic. So I think we have to look at the imbalances. We have to look at why those symptoms are there. It's not that she shouldn't take the pill, but it's that she should be presented with all her options, be able to make an informed decision, and realize that the buck doesn't stop there. The buck doesn't stop with the pill, and that the problems can sometimes get worse, and we can't know how the pill will impact her until she starts to take it. There is no way of knowing how that integrates for her. So just watch things and know this information. And I really think looking at the hormone imbalance to begin with, because if you don't sort it out now, it's still going to be there later. And I think that's the main thing to consider. Okay, let's have a look what else we have here. A couple of comments coming through on Facebook as well. Thank you. 5-year-olds. Anastasia, can you elaborate a little bit more about the 5-year-old, because I don't know what you mean. Prim is asking diet-wise, what can we do to lower estrogen? I'm going to come and answer this at the end because, like I said, I got something for for you. So stick around, Prim. I can't run late. Like I literally am going to do that in like 7 minutes because I actually have another call to get on after this. So let's answer a few more of these. I'm going to just skip along and say, oh, there's so many. Okay. Do endometriosis and acne often go hand in hand? I have both problems, but no one can ever seem to give advice on if they reflect. Without knowing more information, it's very difficult for me to answer this. Endometriosis, like we discussed at the beginning, is definitely genetic. Acne is usually, depending, okay, so here's what I'll say. If you don't have a copy of Beautiful You, you need to get one because I give you, and I can show you because I've got one here, but I talk about quite extensively about acne, and I've got something to tell you about Beautiful You in a second anyway, but that you might be useful in. Watch me not be able to find the page now about acne. I should really know where it is after reading it all day. Okay, so there's a massive chapter on acne, but I just want to show you this. So the location of acne can help you to work out what's actually going on for you. And this might be useful. I'd say you've got a couple of things at play here. I've also shared this on Instagram a few times. So if you haven't seen this yet or it's new for you, then go and check it out because you can look at the region of the face as to where the acne is, which will tell you potentially what's going on. And guys, all this information that I share with you, it's to spark curiosity. It's for you to go, oh, acne, yeah, I have acne. It's on my chin. What does that mean? And to get curious. And that's really, really important to be able to do that, I think. So it's all about creating curiosity for you to go down a path where you can start to look at what else is going on for you. So I'm going to say yes and no because I don't know the full deal here, but acne's generally a result of elevated androgens, but it can also be excess sebum production. It can be hormonal. And the way you're going to know if the acne is hormonal or more hormonal than not, it's generally hormonal, is that it's cyclic. So you'll have peaks and troughs where it's worse and better throughout the cycle, and it's always the same peaks and troughs. So at ovulation time and the period time, you see that it's worse, then it's safe to say that it is hormonal. It can also be very much gut related, and that's also where it can be very much related to endometriosis. Endometriosis we look at like an autoimmune condition, and acne we can look at in a similar way depending. So I would love to help you more, and I've got something for you in a minute that may be useful as well. Hi Nat, I feel my endo has been getting worse since I had my self-indectomy. I even feel perimenopause at age 37. Can I communicate this to my GP doc to believe me? So you really need to be looking at A, maybe there's some scar tissue. B, obviously, yes, your hormones are changing, but also just as a result of that, you still need to look at what your hormones are doing. And you still need to look at if you have any pain. Pain is generally a result of inflammation. And so just weighing in on that. And again, we haven't really spoken about that element of endo as well. Pain is always going to be a result of inflammation in the body. So that's again where I would be saying, okay, well, yes, okay, there is scarring. Yes, there could still be endo present. And sometimes we go and we address the issue, or we remove evidence of the issue and don't actually address the problem, the core problem. So I would be saying, yes, Amy, it would be a good idea to go in and still look at what your hormones are doing and start to look at ways of regulating your hormones better. I'm going to give you, like I said, something in a second. Is a laparoscopy the only way to confirm endometriosis? Yes, it's the best way. And we're still developing ways, and you know, I think that to truly know that you're dealing with endometriosis, you should definitely be seeking, obviously, the advice of your gynecologist, and then if they recommend that can be a game changer. I see Anastasia's also saying for the 5-year-old, stress and anxiety starting from school. Yeah, absolutely. We have to look at ways of helping our girls manage stress. It is so important. So a couple of things I want to cover off because I know we're running out of time, and I have only left myself half an hour tonight, which is definitely not enough time. But I have, after this, in 5 minutes, I have a bonus class for my book club, my girls in my book club. So if you don't know what book club is, I'm just going to quickly give you some info on that before I share with you something really cool. But book club is basically 4 weeks to understanding your body better, using my book to guide you. Obviously, a book club, you're supposed to sit around and read books. It's so much more than that. We do 4 weeks of live chats. I give you charts, I give you PDFs, I give you so much extra stuff, and it's pretty cool. So book club starts again on the 24th of March, and you're totally invited to join. I'm going to drop a link here in Facebook. And if you're on Instagram, there's a link in my profile, but I'm going to drop a link here as well, just quickly. Now, we do have limited space for enrollments for the VIP. The VIP, you get so much stuff, and that's what I'm about to jump into. So what I decided is we're in there for 4 weeks, and everyone's got all these questions, and they're learning all about their menstrual cycle, and they're so excited to learn. And they've got all these individual questions that they're like, what does it mean if my body's doing this? And I'm charting things and I'm looking at my cycle and all this is happening. And so I decided to throw in a bonus call so that they could come back 6 weeks later, and then we can go through that together. And also the other really lovely thing is that you get this beautiful community, that you connect with women that are like-minded, that want to learn in the same way that you want to learn. So book club, like I said, VIP, spaces are limited, and I should have probably checked how many spaces are left for VIP before I got on here. I don't know. But look, VIP is very much worth it. It's $20 more than the regular book club. But we do hang out every Wednesday night starting the 24th of March, and I would absolutely love to see you there. It does include a copy of the book as well, which is really cool. Now, oh boy, how am I going to share this? So guys, I created something really special for you just as a wrap up, and I will share it when we hang up. I will share it on Facebook and I will share it on Instagram. But one of the best things that you can do to help with your hormone imbalance is to make sure that you are eating enough fiber. But it's not just eating enough fiber, it's doing it in the right way. And so lots of you might have seen my cleanse mix, which is a very simple mix of cyprium, psyllium, chia, and flax. What I've gone and done, I need some love hearts for this, guys. No pressure. What I've gone and done is I have gone and created a little PDF for you of the ingredients that you can go and mix it together and make it yourself. Now, here's why you want to do that. These ingredients do several things. They are, some of the ingredients are prebiotics, so they help the healthy gut flora to grow. They are really going to support sweeping or dredging the gut. They are going to help with detoxification, which is so important when it comes to your hormones, and they're going to help with your bowels to be regular. Because if you're not moving your bowels every day and moving them properly, as we spoke about last week, best thing I've ever done for my endo health, thank you. The cleanse mix is amazing. But what I've gone and done, because don't just take my word for it, if you don't want to invest in the cleanse mix from me, I've gone and I've made a little PDF for you to go and make it yourself. Or if you're lazy, or if you can't source organic cyprium, because just between you and me, it's so hard to get organic cyprium, then you're going to want, you can get it from me. You can totally get it from me, but I wanted to give that to you. And like I said, in the copy, I will put there the reasons why you need to get this into your life. But they're the 4 main reasons, and making sure you're doing all of those really simple things is definitely going to help you to manage your endometriosis, because you're looking after your gut, you're looking after your liver, and you're looking after your bowels. Now, it's not going to be the only ticket, but I need to give you tips and tools that are safe for you to use in your own home that are effective. And so that's exactly what the cleanse mix does. So what I'll do is when I hang up, I will share that with you. You can take that PDF, you can print it out, you can share it around with your friends, and look, you can just have a cleanse party. You can have a cleanse mix party. But I want you to absolutely have access to that. There's no benefit in me hiding the 4 ingredients that are in it. I made it because I was so fed up with saying to patients, please go and mix these 4 ingredients together. It's really going to help you. And so I just made it myself. So whether you make it yourself or whether you want to choose the cleanse mix is entirely up to you. I've got it pre-made for you, and I'll definitely include a link for that. But if you want to go and try it for yourself, I suggest you try it for 4 weeks and you have 1 teaspoon every day, either in water, in juice, in a smoothie, on top of your breakfast, I don't care how you have it, just have half a teaspoon a day. And that's really going to help. Now, I'm sorry I have to cut you short this week, guys. If you do want any of these things, then obviously there's links everywhere. Head to the website. You'll find it on Instagram. You'll find it in my profile. On Facebook, we'll make sure we keep on sharing it. Thanks for hanging around. It's been so awesome. I promise you next week, I will be back and I will devote more time and I will answer more questions. But until then, guys, I hope I can get some music playing. Bye, guys. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know?